Hello friends, welcome to Value Vintage Cards. This video is going to be I guess what will make an annual tradition since it's my first winter season on YouTube. I thought I would go ahead and just share the top 50 in my collection. Now, the top 50 for myself is a little bit more challenging because I don't subscribe to any of these valuing websites, and a decent portion of what I have probably acquired would be the only comp. So rather than trying to put an exact value and look at things incrementally going up by $20 for the year or not, I'm going to go a little bit on my own valuing system of what I kind of know I paid for it and what I think I've seen in the market, if there is a market for it, and then just kind of assign that to my collection. And so I'm not going to rank them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split this into two videos. This will be video that includes cards 50 through 26. The other one will have a lot less explanation. I'll just jump into the top 25. But what I would like to do is to just simply share the cards more so in like a chronological order. I think that makes more sense for my style of collecting. Like I said, I just simply can't rank them in a appropriate manner to be listed out and shown that way. So that would be my thought, and that's what I'm going to show you. So I'm going to start off with the all the post-war, and then I'll get into pre-war. But this will be kind of the second 25 of my collection based on what I think the value would be. So kicking it off, we've got the 1972 Puerto Rican Mike Schmidt sticker. So that's one I've definitely shown on the channel before. Next up, would be my 1955 Roberto Clemente rookie card in a 2.5. That would probably fall into the next tier there. Next up, the classic Hank Aaron rookie, 54 tops in a 1. Next we will jump over to 1953. One of my absolute favorite from the entire set, one of my favorites from Willie's entire run. So 53 tops, Willie Mays. Absolutely love that card. 1952 is next. I've got a couple 52s to share. I've got the 52 Burke Ross Jackie, SGC 2.5. Solid card, solid condition. Going back to Willie, 1952 tops. Amazing image, another that's on most collectors' list of favorite Mays cards. Next, we'll go to the 1949 Bowman, Jackie Robinson. That one just so I can illustrate what a cool card that one is. Next up, I guess technically it's 49, even though our grading companies would have said 48, 49, or sometimes 48. The Leaf Babe Ruth card. That one is a pretty fantastic front. It's a solid 1 because of the back issues, but still makes my top 50 this year. Next up, I guess I've got a couple from this year. So we'll go with the 47 Sports Exchange, which I believe that is the card that shares the image with the 52 tops, if I recall. Yogi Berra. Neat set. So hand cuts. So those conditions can be all over the place. Next, 1947, we shall go with the Tip Top Bread Warren Spahn. Absolutely one of the best in his entire collection as well. Youthful Image, super, super cool card. And I believe my last post-war, do we call it that? I don't know. Non-pre-war? I don't know what the right term would be there. Would be the Babe Ruth from the Propaganda Montiel set. So, very, very neat set. That's a 46-47 kind of print run. Then take a little bit of a jump, right? Getting into the pre-war, we get to 1941 would be next up. And Joe DiMaggio, 1.5. Everything about the card is great except it looks a little bit stained, but image is absolutely wonderful. That's one of the most iconic images in the hobby. So absolutely recommend. It's one of those cards you actually appreciate more in person than you do just seeing the pictures and images and debating whether or not to pick it up. Do it. If it's in the realm of possibility, grab one. Next up is an interesting one, 1939 Play Ball. It's not easy to get a Bill Dickey card on my list. His stuff tends to be a lot more on the value end of things, but this one is a sample version. So the back is labeled as a sample, and it's a high-grade sample at that. So cool card, 39 Play Ball. Next we go to 1937. This is one of those that I had a really hard time trying to slap a value to because I know what I paid, and I think it's worth a pretty decent little premium over what I paid because of the high-end condition, which again is pretty rare for my collection, as you could tell. Lots of A's and 1s and 2s, but having a 6 for a 1937 O-Pee-Chee Lefty Grove, one of the coolest sets and under the radar for many folks. So not a lot of transactions, very low population kind of set. Speaking of that, here's another perfect example of hard to value, tough set. 1933 Uncle Jack's Candy Lefty Grove. There are not a lot of those out there. That's in a 2. I don't think I've actually shared that on the channel just yet, other than I used it for our Mount Rushmore image. Blank back, super cool card. So tough to put a what's that worth kind of value on it. Next, I believe this would fall in that realm. Again, conditions, comps, all this stuff, very, very tough to properly analyze and assess, but I believe this would fall in the top 50 for my collection. 1932 U.S. Caramel, Rogers Hornsby. A little bit of a mark on the back, a little bit of writing on it, which keeps it value vintage for me. Next, I guess I'll go over to my one Beckett that I think falls into this grouping. That is a strip card of the Babe. So just to get you an idea of what that is. And what it looks like. So neat set, W512 Babe Ruth. There's a few different strip cards of his that fall into my realm of collecting. All right, next up, we will go to 1915. Taking a leap here on years. One of my favorite Cracker Jacks. One of my 2 nicest Eddie Plank cards as well. So absolutely love this Cracker Jack image. 1.5 for these is a really, really nice, and as you know, 15s are upside down on the back, but love the 1915 Cracker Jack. 1914 by comparison, another one of my favorite players. Three Finger Brown, Mordecai Brown. On these, the writing is the correct way. Next, we will go to 1914, and we'll play a little game here. Polo Grounds game. So 1914 Polo Grounds, Honus Wagner. Neat image of him hitting. There's 3 playing cards in that era. National Game, Tom Barker, and the Polo Grounds all have similar time frame, similar size, similar look. Maybe some different images, but very, very cool. But grabbing a Wagner playing days that's not breaking the bank is a wonderful treat. I highly recommend those to anyone that's in the market for a Honus. All right, back to 1910. This is one I just recently showed in another video because I just completed the Hall of Fame run. Actually, I guess I didn't show this one. But Ty Cobb, 1910 Sweet Cap. This one has some issues. If it didn't have the issues, it might make it into the next tier, but back is rough and has actually a rip right here. But that said, I'm identifying all the flaws. I think the image, the corners, all the stuff actually looks pretty gosh darn good. And if I did that, you might think that's a 2.5 or a 3. It's a really nice looking image and colors and everything else. So that is a wonderful place in my collection. 1909, I'm going to polish off my PSAs. It's another one I don't believe I've shown. That is a 100%, I could blame John Mangini and say he's a bad influence and made me do it, but in reality, I think most folks agree that is one of the best looking cards. It's used on a couple different caramel issues, so you don't necessarily have to have this exact one to have this image. This one was, I've seen several of these in slightly just unacceptable for eye appeal because you want this card because it's so beautiful. The colors, everything else about it matters. If you take a look at that, it's got a pinhole. I am okay with that. It still gets a poor fare because the imaging, the colors, everything about it, other than that golly gosh darn pinhole, got a stamp on the back. To me, that actually makes it look cooler. I like that a lot. I'm good with that. So my copy of this for the grade, I think, is stellar. And if it was any better, it would be in my top 25 without a doubt. So I am thrilled to pick it up and keep it in the second 25. Again, another tough one to value. So with eye appeal being king, I think mine is a really, really nice looking version. Next card, exact same story. I think eye appeal wins on this one. 1909 E95. Another classic. If you can't afford the T206, that makes you almost everybody. And if the T206 is off the table, the E95 Eddie Plank is a phenomenal option. Absolutely love this card. The image, the colors, as I say, all the stuff. Love that card. So Eddie Plank makes the list down to a couple. So 1909 T206. This one I did show because it's my only T206 of this player. But it's, again, one of the best looking cards in the hobby, I believe. In terms of portrait cards, that might be the winner. I'm not sure. It's a fantastic image. Youthful Walter Johnson, popped collar, big W on his chest. So just a neat card. This era, sometimes the cards will sell at a premium because they're just cool. So clean enough back, all this stuff. That's a great card. So very happy to have that in the collection. And the last one of my 26 through 50, going back to the 1800s. King Kelly. It's another one. This one is just like the Mathewson. I think presents really well. Image is great. Everything about it's fantastic. Corners are actually really sharp. Got a big old hole. Somebody had that on their wall with a lot of pride for years. Back is a little bit tough, but give me that fantastic front and I'm thrilled. King Kelly, tough to get in the collection, so very, very happy to have this thing. That stash, look at that image. That's as 1800s baseball as it gets right there. So that would be it. That is my run through of 26 through 50. Upcoming will be the next tier, top 25. Thanks for hanging with me. See you guys next time.